we're going to go back over your job requirements, expectations, and how you make your money. Now, remember, this is a 90% sales job. We're selling a life change, but your job is still to sell. And that starts with 6 for help. Remember, this represents your set, show, close, how many appointments you have scheduled for that first essentially free hour with you, how many show up, and then how many you sell. Remember, it's 6 for help. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But that circled 4 is the most important thing. You've got to have butts and seats or you can't make an impact. If you're doing 4 a day, you will excel at this job. Now remember, where these leads come from. New members at point of sale are priority 1. We want to book those in person, get them excited to come in. We'll call and text ones that we miss diligently and track those daily. You can't be hesitant to work the floor. You have to get out there and be a pit bull and not a chihuahua and work the treadmills and work the machines and talk to people that are on the floor and turn those into appointments. Those are your 3 primary lead generation sources. Then we have other things like texting birthday members, 30, 60, 90-day check-ins with people that didn't buy to try to get them back in. There's always a way to have at least 4 butts and seats a day if you apply yourself, okay? And that's how we get to our goals. Now, our goals are broken down in terms of pay periods, okay? So from now on, you want to think in terms of pay periods. A pay period goes the 1st through the 15th and the 16th through the end of the month. Your goal should be to sign up at least 10 people during this time. Remember, 1 time a week is the average sale. It's $200 a month for 12 months. So $2,400 in contract value that you get credit for, which means that you would hit $24,000 in sales per 2 weeks. At least that much should be your goal every 2 weeks, at least, okay? Now, these pay period goals look like this. Per 2 weeks, these are your goals. Your goal should be to sell at least $20,000 to $30,000 worth of training. Remember, that's built on the total contract value of the programs. 1 time a week being the average sale, $2,400 total on that program. So roughly 13 sales would get you to $30,000 in sales per 2 weeks. That'd be $3,000 in commission. You see your base pay, and then also a bonus check right there for hitting that number of 500. So you'd have $4,500 in that check, $9,000 a month if that's what you were averaging, and then you're making 6 figures a year if you're averaging $30,000 per pay period, which is roughly 13 sales in 2 weeks. That's where you want to be. $20,000 is still a good employee. That's roughly 9 sales per pay period. Again, using the 1 time a week as a benchmark. $250 bonus at that number. $2,000 in commission, so that'd be $3,250 per check, $6,500 a month if that's what you're averaging, and then $75K that you make per year. Now, you never want to be below this number of $15,000. That's roughly 7 deals per 2 weeks. You have to hit $15,000 to unlock your 10% commission tier, where you're making real money. You see the commission $1,500 with your base, what you're averaging per check per month, and $60K per year. So you are an upper middle class, respectable American if you are hitting this number every single pay period. We want you higher up here. This should really be the lowest that you should ever be. Now, if you drop below this, you're just going to be making 6% on your sales. You do not want to do that. $10,000 to $14,999, you're just making 6%. $10,000 is also your minimum sales requirement. Not that that should ever cross your mind. You should be focused up here. But $10,000 is the minimum you must write to maintain your position to where you're paying for yourself, essentially. If you're a minimum writer, you're making $38K a year. So there's a big difference between the minimum, average-ish, good, and great. You make what you're worth. If you ever drop below $10,000, you're basically just making your base pay, which is never a place that you should be, okay? This is how you make your money. Now, other things to keep in mind. Anytime a person pays for their entire program up front, they get a discount and they get total ownership of their sessions, and we have more money in the bank, so we pay you more. So on PIFs, you get plus 3%, so you can make up to 13%. Someone pays for their 1 time a week up front, more money in the bank, more money to pay you. Now, we always use an apartment analogy for monthly payments where we do require first and last, F&L. Okay, that's equal to your commission tier. But sometimes Mrs. Jones may not have that in the bank. We don't want you to lose the sale, so you hypothetically can just take first, that F, or just the $49 startup fee. But if you're not taking first and last to start, we don't have the same amount of money in the bank, so you would make half on that sale. Now the total Like if we look up here, the one time a week, the 2,400, that still goes towards your goal of 20 and 30,000. But instead of making 240 off that deal, you'd make 120. So that lower down payment is in your back pocket if you need it. You don't want to make it a habit, okay? Now, other things to be aware of: 3-day cancellations. All contracts in the United States have a 3-day cooling off window. Sometimes people will get cold feet and cancel on you, especially if you're signing up 10, 12, 14 people in a pay period. You might have one of them drop off. That's not necessarily a bad sign, but keep that in mind. Whatever your goal is, shoot just a little bit higher in case you have somebody drop off. First draft delinquents. If Mrs. Jones starts a program today, she starts her 1, 2, 3, or 4 time a week, right? And her first monthly payment a month from now, her first auto charge bounces. You would have 2 weeks to get that payment cleared, that 200, 360, 480, etc. If you didn't clear that first payment in 2 weeks, the commission that you were paid on that deal would get pulled out of your next check. Now, that's much less common than, say, a 3-day cancellation, but it protects against dirty sales tactics of people lying about the contract. It's rare, but if you see it, don't ignore it. Call the person, see what's going on. Maybe they need to put a new card on file and clear that payment so you don't lose your hard-earned commission, and we make sure that we're servicing clients. This is how you earn from all the work that we put in and the lives that we change. Let me know if you have any questions.